Hi there, Serial Trader here. Let's check in with the major US indices. Alright, so since yesterday's video, last night there, the wave 4, as it was labeled, ending here, didn't hold, and with that weakness in the futures overnight, we did in fact have that lower open. But as the day progressed, as has been the case a few days in a row here, we came up quite nicely off the highs and removed a large amount of the damage that was initially done at the start of the day there. So that being said, this still looks very much like a corrective wave down. You have so many choppy overlapping waves going down. This does not look like an impulsive, wave one down, now, two up, three down sort of thing, and we have some sort of big top. That's not what it looks like at all. Looks very corrective, and I haven't labeled it here, but right now it labels best as a triple zigzag, which is a fairly complicated pattern, and certainly acceptable though. And I've just so from calling this the bottom of wave 2, so 1 up, 2 down, this is our third. What I've done, or sorry, I've actually put the third here. What I've done is I've done the fib pull from that third, and we actually just briefly just came down below that 50% level, so that's certainly acceptable Fibonacci retracement for a fourth wave. Once you start getting to that 618 and beyond for a fourth wave, that becomes less and less likely that it is a fourth wave. That's just getting a little deep for that type of wave. And then certainly ultimate abandonment of the fourth wave interpretation would be overlap with 1, which would be at 27, 29, 34, but still a healthy distance from doing that. It didn't happen. So at this point, still leaning on this 1, 2, 3, 4 scenario. But really, at this point, it's kind of a must hold to maintain this as being a smaller fourth, expecting a fifth. Any further weakness that isn't immediately rejected and strongly so, I would be more inclined, and here let me just get rid of the fib pull here. I'd be more inclined to say something like this. And it's not ideal, but it certainly works. We had a 1 up, 2 down. This is our 3. This is a rather small 4, although it's tolerable. But I'd rather the 4 be more time consuming, not less time consuming than the 2. That's just more of a normal tendency for it. And then we came up and put in our fifth, right? And now we're just having some sort of larger correction to the downside, and here's what I'm looking for. Something something like that, right? Hang on. WXYXZ. Yeah, like this. W, X, Y, X, Z. So triple zigzag corrective, possibly. If this is. So we had our 1. We had this 1. We had this 2. Now this doesn't look long enough to be a third, if that really was 5 up for a third. So I actually would say it's just another 1 up and then a 2 down of lesser degree, okay? And then we'd be going up in a third of a third after that. But I'm not currently favoring that, but if it goes much farther, you have to start accepting that this decline, although corrective, is just becoming disproportionate to this wave 2. And you need a certain proportion for it to be realistic. Otherwise, you really have to switch your labeling. Not quite ready to go there yet, though. So still currently favoring this, right? But we'll see. either way, though, this I mean, at this point, you should at least wait for an initial resistance level to break, for instance. And but with that being said, you should be eyeing up a buying opportunity at this point on SPX. Okay, so we'll go to the candlestick chart. Okay, and the candlestick's just showing you, yeah, we have that initial, drop down, low open, drop down, and then strongly rejecting off those lower prices and greatly limiting intraday damage here. And then this is just that 50% level I was looking at on the other chart for this potential 3 coming down and 4 to that around that 50% level. Now on the 10-minute chart off the bottom, nothing overly clear yet. Maybe a 1-2, 1-2, but we'll see. For now, it's still contained within a parallel trend channel. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out. Like to see it break out above this channel to really confirm that we have a new impulse move starting. But we're just not there yet. See how the week progresses. Okay. So SPX still looking higher here, despite the choppiness of the last few days. NASDAQ, Dow Jones Industrial Average, still the weakest, and actually gap down, and this gap remains unclosed. So that's interesting. The other two indices, let me just quickly go back. I don't think SPX actually has no, it does not have a gap. But the Dow does. So Dow clearly the laggard. But again, now we're just kind of rejecting off that 50-day moving average, which we did over here. So if that 50 holds again, and again we'll just make a higher low above this low, okay? So this low is 24,248 or something, and this low was 24,568. So anything above here is still a higher low, and looks like that 50-day simple moving average is acting as support once again. So we'll see if we come up and we close this gap and the other indices really start advancing. I just can't see the Dow not following along despite showing this relative weakness. Okay, so go the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ, geez, it's definitely still the strongest. I mean, tech is clearly a leadership group here still. NASDAQ definitely, we opened below the T line, went a little lower after the open, and then strongly came back to the end of the day with very modest losses, a 0.28% loss on a closing basis. And again, still closed above the T line, so that's interesting. NASDAQ still showing the highest relative strength of all the indices. So again, until you see a real convincing sell signal on the NASDAQ and a close below the T line, I would not be getting excited about trying to sell this thing or buy puts or whatever. And in fact, I still think it's got some more juice to the upside left. Okay, the VIX. VIX, again, just adding kind of confidence that this recent weakness that we've been seeing is corrective, because VIX just is not getting out of this range. Just another lower high in VIX, and then rejecting downwards, cooling off quite a bit intraday. So VIX is still showing a bullish condition for stocks. All right. Well, we'll check in later in the week. Not necessarily tomorrow, unless something really worthwhile happens that needs to be touched upon. But certainly Thursday or Friday at the latest. All right. Serial Trader signing off.